Was Elvis Presley murdered, in a sense?
I think anyone that's abandoned and given something that causes their death.
Elvis had apparently been dead for several hours. They needed help to lift Elvis onto their stretcher. He weighed 18 stone. Elvis Presley was prescribed more than 5,000 pills, sedatives and tranquilizers in the last 7 months of his life.
That Elvis Presley died of the interaction of several drugs?
Most probably, yes.
Elvis's doctor prescribed him thousands of pills. This paired with Elvis's poor diet put him in plenty of near-death experiences. It seems like this doctor intentionally killed Elvis because he prescribed him more medicine than any human should ever consume. Elvis was so sick, he didn't bathe, he ate platters of cheeseburgers, and he was constipated for 4 months. Whose fault is it? Is it Elvis Presley's fault or the doctor who made millions off of him? So let's get into it. Upside is a great app for anyone who buys groceries, gas, or dines out. This year, I am focusing on saving as much money as I can because inflation has been tough. So Upside makes it easier by giving you the power to earn from your expenses. Now, every purchase I make, I'm earning cash back. I've been able to use Upside at some of my favorite smoothie shops, and I've been using it at the grocery store. You can use my link below to download Upside for yourself. But when I was shopping at this past week, I was able to receive 14% cash back on my purchase. After linking my card information, I was able to claim the deal and check into the store from my app. You use your card as you shop and you'll save money. You can cash out through bank transfer, Apple Pay, PayPal, or receive an e-gift card. To get started, download the free Upside app in the Apple Store or Google Play. Use my promo code SLOAN, SLOAN, and get $5 or more cash back on your first purchase of $10 or more. Thank you, Upside, for sponsoring this video, and enjoy. It has been almost 45 years since Elvis has been dead, and there's still so much mystery surrounding what happened. Last time we talked about Elvis on my channel, we spoke about how he groomed Priscilla Presley into being his wife. But today, I want to focus on specifically what happened when Elvis died and why we're still unsure about why he passed away in the first place. Elvis was born in January 1935 in Mississippi. He became one of the most famous musicians in the world up until he passed away at the age of 42. He died in his mansion named Graceland, which is located in Memphis. People have actually tried to kidnap Elvis's body before, which I was thinking about making an entirely separate video about that. So comment below if you'd like to hear about it, because a year after he passed, not even a year after he passed away, people planned to take his body and steal it. Anyways, there are so many bizarre facts surrounding Elvis's death, like the fact that he was super constipated, which I know, Sloan, is a gross place to start off, but I just want to get it out of the way. Elvis Presley was constipated for 4 months, and we learned this because we were able to get some details about how he passed away. We don't have the full autopsy yet, so this headline isn't accurate, but we do have doctor notes. Towards the end of Elvis's life, he was far from healthy. He was locked up in his bedroom eating platters of cheeseburgers. Supposedly a full-time nurse was there trying to get him to bathe, and then he wouldn't, so he started to develop sores on his body, and because of his horrendous diet, he was super constipated. But it wasn't just his diet which made him so full of, you know what, it was also all of the medication he was on, because he had a number of prescription pills in his body. Before we talk about the doctor who prescribed him all of those pills, I want to walk through exactly what happened when he passed away. So on August 16th, 1977 at 2:15 a.m., Elvis called his Dr. Nick, who again we'll talk about in a second, to ask for some more painkillers. Later that morning at 9:30 a.m., Elvis took the painkillers and 3 separate packages of pills. Then he told his girlfriend Ginger at the time that he was going to the bathroom. Supposedly he was headed to the bathroom because he could not sleep. He wanted to read his book, and he told her that he would not fall asleep when he was in there. She asked him, please don't fall asleep while you're in the bathroom, and he said, I won't.
Ricky brought it up. Elvis took his packet of medication and started reading a book on psychic energy then. He thought that would help him fall asleep. Then I fell asleep. So at about 8 o'clock, I woke up because Elvis was restless, saying that he just couldn't sleep. So he called downstairs for Ricky again, and Ricky came up and brought up another packet of medication.
A second packet.
Right. Elvis took that, and then I went back to sleep. The third time I was awakened again, Elvis was starting to get up, saying that he still couldn't sleep. He took the book on psychic energy with him, and he started toward the bathroom door. And I said, no, don't fall asleep. And he turned and smiled at me and said, oh, okay, I won't. And then he went to the bathroom.
So then even later that day at around 2 p.m., Ginger woke up and realized that Elvis was not in bed. I mean, it was kind of odd because where are you? But at the same time, she wasn't too concerned. So Ginger got up looking for Elvis, and she found him. She found his body, and he was blotchy with purple discoloration. His eyes were staring straight ahead and blood red, which can you imagine just seeing Elvis there eyes open, super red? That sounds so traumatic. So right away, Ginger called the police, and she was frantic. She wrote in her memoir that Elvis's arms lay on the ground close to his sides with his palms facing upward. It was clear that from that moment he landed on the floor that he hadn't moved. I gently turned his face towards me, and a hint of air expelled from his nose.
So I opened the door, and that was when I saw Elvis.
According to the medical investigator, the body was purple or deep blue, and rigor mortis had set in. Elvis had apparently been dead for several hours. After a flurry of desperate activity, 2 paramedics arrived from the Memphis Fire Department. They needed help to lift Elvis onto their stretcher. He weighed 18 stone.
So Elvis was taken by an EMT to the Baptist Memorial Hospital, where the nurse and the staff tried to revive him, but they had no luck. At first, everyone believed that Elvis's cause of death was heart failure, but there have been a lot of questions about that. I think you guys could already tell from this video that there's more to Elvis's death than just a simple heart attack. I mean, Elvis did love his platter of cheeseburgers, but an actress named Linda Thompson, who lived with Elvis for years after his divorce from Priscilla, was quoted saying that I have never seen a human being in my life abuse drugs like Elvis. So who is this doctor giving Elvis all of these drugs? Because it's causing him to be constipated. I mean, taking that many pills alone isn't good for you. Well, it doesn't seem like Dr. Nick, Elvis's right-hand man, actually had Elvis's best interests, because he started treating him in 1967, and he went on a downward spiral ever since that point. Let's talk a little bit about some of the health issues that Elvis was experiencing, because in 1973, he was rushed to the hospital in a semi-coma. He had vertigo, back pain, insomnia, eye infections, and a headache. He also had respiratory distress, a distended abdomen, constipation, of course, a bleeding ulcer, and hepatitis. So he had a lot of different things going on. Then he was hospitalized again in 1975 for high blood pressure and high cholesterol. He also had a condition called megacolon, which caused his stomach to distend, I guess because he had issues like digesting food, so it would swell up his stomach and he would look super round like Santa. Megacolon is a serious condition because it allows toxins to rush through your body, but some doctors believe that all of these health issues actually come from a head injury that Elvis had in 1967. This head injury supposedly resulted in him developing progressive autoimmune inflammatory disorder, which I don't think we can really prove that because people started like deciding that after he passed away, but that's like at least one theory. Honestly, I'm over here looking at the doctor who's prescribing him thousands of pills. Actually, Dr. Nick is an interesting man, and he is full of excuses. He actually claims that he would give Elvis anything he wanted, because if he didn't give it to Elvis, then Elvis would go to street drugs, which that's not a valid excuse. You can't just continue to supply a drug addict because you're afraid they'll go get their drugs somewhere else. Like, it just sounds like you're a drug dealer in that situation with a happy customer. Dr. Nick did end up getting in trouble in 1980 because his medical license was suspended. When the charges were brought against him, they found out that in the last 20 months of Elvis's life, he prescribed over 12,000 pills. And he would carry these pills in 3 different suitcases with him as he traveled because Elvis needed so many. I mean, in the last 7 months of Elvis's life, he was prescribed 5,000 narcotic capsules. That is so many. I mean, I feel like that's like attempted murder at this point. To give someone so much of that medication, he has to know that that's not okay. And like, what do they teach you? Like, where are the standards at? You just keep prescribing more and more and more until their tolerance is through the roof.
As you'll see, Elvis Presley was prescribed more than 5,000 pills, sedatives and tranquilizers in the last 7 months of his life. That's an average of 25 pills a day. And as I said, they were all prescribed by doctors, giving rise to the question, who killed Elvis?
So like I said, in 1980, Dr. Nick lost his license, and then in 1981, he was charged with 11 felony counts of overprescribing drugs. He was actually acquitted of these charges, which I think is ridiculous, and I read in some articles it's because he has some powerful friends who helped him out, and he supposedly maintained his medical license until 1995. So he was able to get his license back and continue doing what he was doing, probably because if Elvis is one of his clients, imagine who else? These other powerful people who are popping these pills protecting this doctor.
The records indicate that, especially in the last year of his life, you prescribed certain medications to Elvis Presley in quite extraordinarily large amounts. Why?
I can't comment on that, and I don't believe that's true.
Well, the records we have, Doctor, and I'll say this as gently as I possibly can, indicate that from January 20th, 1977 until August 16th, 1977, the day he died, you prescribed to Elvis Presley, and the prescriptions are all signed by you, over 5,000 Schedule II narcotics and/or amphetamines. That comes out to something like 25 per day.
I don't believe that.
Well, is it something that you'd like to refresh your recollection on, or is it something that you deny?
I deny.
You guys need to comment below what you think about that doctor, because he gives me such bad vibes. He's like thinking about what he's going to say, acting brand new and defensive about everything. But I also have to acknowledge that Elvis had his own problems. And I think that his coping mechanism was his doctor with all these pills, because I mean, Elvis had at least 4 near-death overdoses that left him unconscious and in need of resuscitation, and his heart was double the size, so he wasn't healthy, and he took it out on these pills, and this doctor allowed him to do so. So when the first EMTs showed up to pick up Elvis, they all believed that he had overdosed. It looked like an OD to them. I mean, at this point, he had had like 4 overdoses, so it wouldn't be far-fetched. But then we've got this doctor who he rubs me the wrong way as well, because he quickly announced that Elvis died of a heart attack without really listening to his peers.
The body of Elvis Aaron Presley was taken to the Baptist Memorial Hospital in Memphis. There, 8 doctors carried out an autopsy. They could find no illness or injury likely to result in death. But the county medical examiner, Dr. Jerry Francisco, overruled them. Acting on his own initiative, without consulting the doctors who carried out the autopsy, Dr. Francisco announced that Elvis Presley had died of a heart attack.
Results of the autopsy are are that the cause of death is a cardiac arrhythmia due to undetermined cause.
Okay, hold up. I feel like Dr. Francisco is working with Dr. Nick because why is he trying to protect him? He jumps to the conclusion that this is a heart attack and he doesn't even listen to his team. He goes ahead and announces it like he's trying to protect the system that Dr. Nick is working in, and maybe this guy's working in it as well. Dr. Francisco said that Elvis Presley died of heart disease and prescription drugs found in his blood were not a contributing factor. He said had these drugs not been there, he still would have died, which is a bold statement because like at 42, you have a heart attack and you just assume that that's a natural cause. In the doctor's defense, he claims that Elvis's mother died in her 40s of a heart attack. So, you know, just like his mother, he died the same way. But some of his team members actually spoke out against him and were like, hold up, you did not listen to us or really do a valid analysis.
Eventually, though, one of the 8 doctors who examined Elvis's body, Noel Florendo, agreed to tell what he knew.
In my opinion, I did not see any evidence of a heart attack morphologically.
Morphologically meaning?
Meaning there was no gross evidence of a heart attack.
So what was the cause of death?
Meaning there was polypharmacy.
That Elvis Presley died of the interaction of several drugs.
Most probably, yes.
Thankfully, Elvis's family took it into their own hands and hired a private company for the autopsy because they weren't buying that he just passed away due to a heart attack. And when they saw all of the drugs in Elvis's system, I mean, it's unbelievable that someone could have all of these drugs in their body because a lot of them are downers. So he was really slowed down. Because of all these pills and his diet, he had other issues like diabetes and glaucoma, things we didn't even know about when he was alive, probably because his doctor wasn't actually treating him to be healthy, was just like a drug dealer, passing him pills when he wanted. And when it comes to Dr. Francisco's autopsy, a lot of other doctors have criticized him because he did not pay attention to the medications, and it seemed like he just quickly jumped to this conclusion for some personal reason because it was clearly false. I mean, if he had a heart attack, it was due to the pills. A lot of different publications have been trying to get their hands on this autopsy, but it has been sealed for a while. We have learned about some of the doctor notes included in the autopsy because there was a situation in 1993 which opened up the documents. One person was quoted saying that Elvis's medicine chest was filled with amber-colored white-topped vials of medications and doses no responsible doctor would have ever prescribed. People have been trying to get their hands on this autopsy report, and ABC actually sued for it because they claimed they needed this information to dispute facts. But it does seem like Elvis's team and his estate and his family have done everything in their power to protect this part of his life because, I mean, it doesn't seem like he was doing well towards the end. There have been some doctors who have taken some of Elvis's hair and have claimed that they have done a DNA analysis and found different issues with his health. And honestly, I feel like these doctors could spend all day creating these theories, but I kind of feel like I have my own opinion of what happened. So we know that Elvis was going to the bathroom right before he passed away. And honestly, I don't fully rule out a heart attack. I think that he did have a heart attack, but I do believe the pills had a part in it. Like, there's no denying that. Like, the first doctor tried to. So I feel like he may have gone to the bathroom. He's been on so many pills. He had 3 packs of pills from the doctor that day. He tried to use the restroom, and maybe that constipation mixed with the heart being double its sized and all of these medications led to him dying. Here's a quote: Presley's chronic constipation, the result of years of prescription drug abuse and high-fat diet, brought on what's known as Valsalva's maneuver. Put simply, the strain of attempting to try to go to the bathroom compressed his aorta, shutting down his heart. I actually understand this a little bit. So pretty much not vein, but you know, there's like pumps that go to your heart that are pumping the blood. The one that went from his ab to his heart like shut down and I guess had a heart attack. So as he was trying to release some of that 4 months of constipation, his body could not handle the pressure mixed with the drugs and it just completely shut down. So whose fault is this? I mean, if you ask me, I feel like it's Dr. Nick's. And as I've been doing more research, I've figured out how sketchy he was. And It just like drives me crazy. I just made a video about Avicii, and Avicii was pretty much worked to death by his team. And there were so many people making so much money off of him that they just continued this destructive path. And I think that Dr. Nick is exactly like this. He continued this destructive path with Elvis because he made so much money off of him, and he borrowed money and took money and reinvested it. And now he's like, living comfortably in his big mansion.
But he also depended heavily on Elvis and his entourage for financial support. Dr. Nick is in big trouble because of his investment in this $5 million office complex. Only 1/3 of the building is occupied. The record shows that the doctor borrowed $200,000 from Elvis in 1975 and another $55,000 in 1977. Much of the money went towards his elaborate home in Memphis.
This doctor never had the right intentions, and the fact that he pretty much got away with it and kept his license and these powerful people vouched for him in court really rubs me the wrong way, and it shows how manipulative the industry is, and these musicians are pretty vulnerable. So I want to hear what you guys think in the comments below. I know there was a movie about Elvis recently. Honestly, I have not watched it yet because I never watch movies. Like, if I'm going to do anything, I'm going to film a video, If not, I'm going to go outside and, go on a hike or be out and about. But yeah, I need to watch that movie. I do. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Here is my email. I will be having P.O. Box packages soon, so look out for that, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye, guys.